So, I finished Spyro 3, which means I finished Spyro Reignited Trilogy. And overall, the trilogy, it's a fucking great value. I mean, what is this, like $30 or something? You get three fucking awesome games. I mean, two, it's alright. Uh, but the first game alone is almost worth the value. It's probably like $20 now. I mean, you get all three games, and two of the three are really good, and the other one is just okay. So, um, a little bit overrated, I would say, but you know, that's a thing for another day. So, but yeah, I finished Spyro 3 finally. It took me like 2 or 3 extra weeks because I had my friend's wedding, and it just fucking fucked everything up. And then work was just a pain in the ass. So, finished all three. This is the review of Spyro 3. Overall, like, fucking better than Spyro 2. Like, I don't know, man. Like, everyone sucks Spyro 2's dick, like, so hard. It's, like, the greatest Spyro game or whatever. And it's like, I always thought 1 was pretty good. And then they take everything that you do in 1 and they restrict it all. They fucking they railroad you. They don't let you go on an adventure, explore levels and all that. It's just like all part of a story now or whatever. So you just like go on this linear path and you barely ever explore anything or whatever, and it's just really dumb and bad, and it's like eh. And the whole first world in Spyro 2, yeah, it's just a Spyro 2 review again. The whole first world in Spyro 2 is the epitome of that, is where they're just railroading you, and it's a tutorial level, which is the worst thing ever, because nobody likes tutorial levels. It's fucking Spyro. It's not hard. You're a dragon. You have abilities of a dragon. You fly. Really, you glide. But it's still similar. You burn stuff because you got fire breath, and that's it. That's all you got. That's all you gotta do. Just that. So, yeah, I mean, he charges, like, right, to break the pots or whatever, but, like, this is all shit you could figure out by just playing around with the buttons for, like, 5 seconds, so it's not that hard. To be fair, in this game and in 2, he gets the head bash ability, which is pretty cool. So that's different and stuff. And he gets to swim. But the swimming in these two games is surprisingly just really well done. And I gotta say, if the PS1 version of this game and 2, like, controlled anywhere remotely as good as they did for the swimming, then that's impressive for PS1. Because, like, swimming in PS1 especially, like, I don't know, fucking Tomb Raider or some shit. Even Mario 64, it's like a load of crock. It's just like, how the fuck am I, like, I'm like aiming myself? I don't know. Like, Spyro, it seemed really natural. I don't know. The swimming was really good. But anyway, so Spyro 2, it railroads you, and it kind of has a lot of very linear levels, and the ones that are more open, it's just like you're doing missions for people anyway, and it's just so annoying in that sense. It's like, that's why the game never clicked with me. It was because you were on the game schedule, and the game was going to tell you what to do and when to do it. Spyro 3 said, fuck all of that. We're going to do that sometimes, but we're going to still make it good even when we do that. You explore. It's like the first game again. You just fucking explore, and there's new people or animals or whatever you fucking call them, new companions or whatever, and new abilities, and just like fucking it's the best. And the music is good again. Like 2 had like super unmemorable music. I don't remember any of the music in 2 as far as I can think of. I mean, I haven't played it as much as I played 1, but just like okay, so Spyro 3, like, really surprised me. Like, I thought, like, I thought it was just gonna be like 2 again. Like, we're just like, oh, this is pretty good, but I still like 1 better. But it's like, if a game can take a game that I'm super nostalgic about, Spyro 1, even though that's not the reason that's a good game. The game is just a good game because it's pretty much unrestricted Spyro platforming. It's the essence of what a fucking Spyro game is, you know? I don't know. I mean, none of them really followed that formula, I don't think, other than 3, but to me, that's what Spyro is Spyro 1. So it's less about the nostalgia, and it's more about, this is just a really well-constructed game with, like, really good music, and the levels are super memorable, and I can tell you, like, every little bit and corner of that game, for the most part. I mean, now that I've played it a few times, you know, like, treetops and shit. But when I can, like, legitimately for the first time playing this game, Spyro 3, when I can sit here and be like, you know what, Spyro 3 actually makes me question whether or not it's the best Spyro game versus 1, which I would have never said that about Spyro 2, that it was better than 1. Like, damn, like, that's impressive, you know, like, um, yeah, that's really good. So, yeah, I think objectively, Spyro 3 is the best Spyro game, but to me, Spyro 1 is the essence, and it's the more simplified version of the game. But Spyro 3 is the real follow-up to Spyro 1. We can just kind of forget about 2, because it was just okay, you know? It was alright. It was an okay game, but this game is so much better. Spyro 3, that is. I mean, I know they're all on this disc or whatever, but Spyro 3 is fantastic. It's called Year of the Dragon, but I'm going to call it Spyro 3, because that's just, like, how I do. So Spyro 3, it's really good. And the moment that I figured out this was going to be a really good game, it's like, okay, so you're doing the first level, and it's more like the first game again. You just run around and you do whatever, right? And I'm like, thank God, you know, it's back to the good formula. I thought that's what they were all just going to be, is just, you know, kind of Spyro platforming games or whatever. That's kind of all what they should have been, you know, like the second game kind of strayed away from that, and they came back to their senses and like put all that back into this game. So you have these companions, right? This was the moment that I knew. When you get the kangaroo companion, I'm like, alright, whatever, it's a kangaroo, right? I go into the level, and it's a whole new move set of mechanics, and you're a fucking kangaroo. And you can, like, double jump and shit, and it's like, like, the minute I stop doing that level or whatever, or, like, so you do that level, you do a level to unlock the character. You have to unlock them by, Moneybags has them in, like, cages and shit. So you unlock that, you pay them gems, then you unlock the level, like their home level or whatever. Then you do that level, and then they'll be in other levels, in certain portals, which is the replacement for all the minigame bullshit. Because in Spyro 2, everything was a minigame, and that's what it was. It was just all bullshit, and they still have that, but they wall it off to a different section. I'll talk about those in a minute, but so they have these home worlds for these companion characters, and Sheila is the kangaroo character. She's awesome. She has this like kick thing that's like her attack, and she's like this double jump and all this shit. It's great. The one thing I don't like, I know I'm getting off topic, but the one thing I don't like about her is they had one side-scrolling level with her that really sucked, and it was stupid, and they should just made it a 3D level or whatever. I don't understand why it was side-scrolling. It was really dumb. I don't even believe there was any other side-scrolling bits in the entire game. That was the only part where it was like that, so it was just strange. But anyway, so if you do that level, then you go back to the first level, and there's a different part in that level, like another portal to get to a level where you play as Sheila again. So there's, within levels, there's little sections where you'll play as these characters, right? Like Sheila, the kangaroo, there's a penguin guy who's like a military dude, and he's got like rockets and shit, and there's this big Yeti dude, and he's kind of the worst one, I think, out of all of them. Is there even a fourth one? Am I skipping one? I don't remember. I think there was one in the fourth world. Pretty sure there wasn't. But anyway, oh, there was the monkey guy. He's good. So Agent 9, yeah. No, definitely. He had some good levels. I'll talk about him in a minute. But the Yeti guy is kind of the worst one, because he just, like, you have this club, and, like, there's one move where you do, like, this whirling club thing, and it, like, should just do as much damage as the other part does. I know that wouldn't be very balanced, but it's just, like, it's the natural button to press for this, like, this club attack, and it just sucks. It's just like this whirlwind that you don't barely do anything with it. You just kind of like in one part of his home world, you fucking use it for 5 seconds to blow a thing at some guy or something. It's really dumb, but he's a little bit slow, and his hammer thing is just not that great. So he's probably the worst one. I like how he's a Yeti though, and you think like, all right, he's like a caveman, like he's gonna me speak like this, but he's like he speaks in Shakespearean language and shit like, thou art the I will find I am allow me to assist you and find him or whatever something like that, and it's just like it's a nice the character is good. All the characters in this game are great, but his play style and whenever I had to play as him was just kind of like not as good as the other ones, because the other ones are versatile and you can move, and this is my point about all this. The movement of the kangaroo character Sheila in her levels is so well done that it's like she should have her own fucking game, like I want to play Sheila the kangaroo, the Spyro fucking a spin-off game or whatever. They'll never do it, but I want to play that. And then so there's and then the bird guy, he can like fly and stuff. He's pretty good. His level is fun. It was a little bit annoying because it was like they have the balloons with the gems and stuff like attached to them, and like you gotta like look around really well for all of them. But his level is pretty fun. He was good overall, but not as good as Sheila. And then it was like, okay, there's this Agent 9 guy. He's like a monkey that has like this ray gun, and he's got shooter levels and stuff. There was actually like a fucking railgun section in this one level, and that was really cool. I thought that was really neat. I think that whole level is like one of the better levels, at least thematically. They have dinosaurs and it's like there's dinosaurs and they're in a western setting, so they have like 6 shooters and shit, and it's just the best thing. It's like, and then one of the parts of that is like you're going through the town and like shooting in a like first person shooter kind of like railgun section. It's like the coolest thing like that I think that level was definitely really cool. And that's the cool thing about this game is like, as much as I love the level design and like the level theming of Spyro 1, I never really felt like Spyro 2 had that many very interesting levels. They all just kind of felt really generic. Spyro 3 brings the level design back. The level design is really great in Spyro 3, and that's one of the game's biggest strengths, is the level design and the atmosphere of the levels. And I know that's like a buzzword or whatever, but it's like just the overall aesthetic and the look and the feel of the levels is really cool. Most of them are pretty cool. Some of them are kind of generic, but it's like, so I do want to talk about the levels here in a second, but I just briefly want to touch on some of the other stuff. So we got like the music, like in Spyro 2, I was talking about like the music wasn't that great, right? Spyro 3, they bring it back, man. The music is catchy again. It sounds more like the old music. It kind of usually feels appropriate to its stage. It's more in line with the original music. The original music is still probably better, I would say, overall, but it's definitely on the right track to being one of the best Spyro soundtracks. And I guess it gets second place because I'm not really going to play any of the other games. Maybe, well, the Game Boy Advance games are pretty good. So yeah, anyway, but so the music is really good. That's the other thing, and it helps lend to the atmosphere of the levels and stuff. And they're really fun levels, I think, overall. There's a few that are just kind of lame, and they're not really that great. But I'll break down the levels here in a second. So all the characters are good. The story stuff is kind of generic compared. I'll give the second game that. I mean, the story was better fleshed out, I guess. I don't know. I felt like this game didn't really have that much of a story. Like the sorceress lady just like fucking steals the eggs, and so you got to get the eggs back. Like, okay, cool. Which is fine. I mean, it's a Spyro game. I'm not expecting anything like RPG levels here, but they did have pretty good characters. So you do have Hunter from the first or for the second game. I don't think Alora comes with you. She's like in the ending or whatever. I think the beginning, and the professor guy is like in there a few times. But like Hunter's just around, and like it's a lot of the same generic spots he is in the second game, where he's like at the speedways. You got to find him at the speedways, that kind of thing, and just randomly strewn throughout a level sometimes. So like he'll have a challenge for you or whatever. Um, I guess I'll talk about that briefly. So the weakest part of this entire game is some of the mini game bullshit. So like Hunter has more challenges, and a few like three times out of five, let's say, it's these skateboarding challenges. And now I don't really mind like the skate. I found the skateboarding stuff to be okay, but it was kind of odd to play this in a Spyro game. It's like playing Big the Cat in Sonic Adventure. You don't want to play Big the Cat. You don't want to do all the fishing shit. You don't want to do that. So like why am I skateboarding in my Spyro game? Like you don't want to do that shit. I mean, for what it was, the skateboarding parts were fine. They just felt really out of place. They did eventually kind of gear it more towards like this hoverboard section kind of thing where you're like racing people and stuff, more in line with the speedways, which I'll get to in a second. Um, and those were okay. I mean, like, those were some of the more frustrating parts of the game as well, but I liked doing them well enough. I just, to me, the game would probably be like a 10 out of 10 kind of game, or at least a very high 9 kind of game, if these levels weren't in there. Like, they don't add much to the experience. I guess they just were like, well, we need something to flesh out like these whole mini game mechanics that we had in the last game. So it's just like, we got to do something, so let's throw skateboarding in. Kids like skateboarding, right? It's the fucking 90s or 2000 or something. I don't know. It was close to the 90s. But anyway, kids still like skateboarding back then. I remember my friends were super into it, and I'm just like, this is dumb. Why you guys, they liked all the skateboarding games or whatever. I mean, I never got into those, but, so, yeah, but, it's just like, why is Spyro skateboarding? Because he's a 90s character, right? That's the 90s. Like, there's just, I don't know. It seemed really weird to me. Like, it's cool. You can do tricks and shit, and that's actually one of the mechanics in the later parts where you're, like, doing the races or whatever, is that if you do tricks while you, like, go on the jumps, there's, like, a course built, and while you're in the air, if you do tricks, it builds up this boost meter to kind of get so you can boost and get to certain places and pass guys and stuff. So it was a cool like mechanic, because then you had to like think, okay, this is the best part for me to like do this boost thing or whatever, so I can get, or well, to do flips and shit, so I can get a more boost. And the like earlier levels, it was like do certain amount of tricks and stuff, and then they like just never brought that back after like the second world or something. Like you like face him in a trick thing or whatever. You do a bunch of tricks or whatever. I don't know. Those are fine. Those are okay. Like I'm not crazy about it, but that was like my one biggest like complaint with the game, was that, and just like I don't know, just some of the like generic levels were the more generic levels. I mean, most of them were cool, but just like there were certain parts in some levels that I'm just like, I don't really care for that, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah, so I mean, just like overall, though, other than those gimmicky levels, which kind of got better as you go on, but also they're just kind of a pain and a pace breaker for my platforming game. I just want to be platforming or doing the flying sections or whatever and the speedways, because those are cool. That's what Spyro feels like to me. I just felt like the skateboarding stuff and these racing sections were just more of the stuff from Spyro 2, which I didn't really like to begin with. So, I mean, but, I mean, they were fine. They did well enough. They were executed well enough. And there was certain minigame sections, like you do, there was this one level where you're, like, in this tomb in the fourth world or whatever, and there's, like, a part where you play basically, like, the Mario Party, like, shell-shocked game where you just, like, you're in a tank and you like shoot other tanks and you have to like take cover and stuff. That was pretty fun. I liked stuff like that. There was a lot of gimmicky like levels like that. You played whack-a-mole one time as the giant the Yeti guy, so it's like, that stuff's fine. I don't care. I felt like the mini game stuff was done a little bit more better and more tastefully than in Spyro 2, where it just kind of felt generic and dumb. So they learned from their mistakes. They at least made it more interesting, I would say. But that's like my biggest negative. So let's get to the levels, I guess. I'm going to pull up a list here, and I'm just going to kind of briefly go through them because I do want to talk a little bit about each. So we got, you start off, Sunrise Spring Homeworld is the first one. It's kind of just a generic area. It's fine. It's a good area. It kind of gets you used to everything, and then also there's like water and stuff, so you can kind of learn the swimming mechanics and stuff. So that's cool. Um, so that's a good home world. You get to the first level. Well, okay, this has Sheila's Alps listed as the first level, which I already mentioned is a pretty good level. Um, okay, so I'll talk about that one. The interesting thing about that one is that you're trying to help these guys along, like trying to knock out these bad guys to like get these guys back to their homes or whatever. And then in this level, and they do this in a few of the other levels too. There's like these like part of the level, like there's like cracks in the wall, almost like a Zelda game or something. So you have to like notice this and then go to those areas and kick open the walls and stuff. It's like false walls. It's like crazy. It's like you gotta like really be paying attention. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think Sunny Villa, that's the first level I was gonna talk about, is a pretty cool level. It's a really good introduction level. They even have this part where like there's this egg like far away where you have to kind of think like, oh, I can glide there or whatever, and so that's pretty cool. Um, and just some generic stuff like you're helping people along, and it's a really good setup level. The one thing that I don't like about that level is, like I said earlier, the skateboarding section is introduced there. They didn't even wait. They just threw it into the first level, right? So, yeah, a pretty decent level. Pretty well themed. It's a solid level. Cloud Spires is actually a pretty cool level thematically. Um, it's like this, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like they're making the weather there. It's like a rain factory, or something. And it's just really cool. It's like this really neat area, and you do all this stuff there. It's really great. Very very cool theming to that level. So that's the kind of stuff where it's just like that's cool. And then there's like then when you get done with the level, like I think it's like cloudy most of the time. And then when you get done with the level, it's like brighter and stuff. It's just the level dynamically changes the whole, which is cool. I don't know. It's just like in Spyro 2. There's like it's all just generic levels. Like you're in a desert level and like all this stuff, and there's like nothing really like happens. You do stuff. But in these they'll kind of have their own little like quirks about them and cool stuff you're doing and stuff. So this felt really well themed. There's this like volcanic level called Molten Crater. It doesn't really feel like a volcano level, but you like you meet these like tiki guys. Tiki stat like what it tiki? Yeah, they're just called tikis, right? Like they're like they have like the tiki masks, but they're like little men. I don't even know how to describe it, but they're cool characters. So that's pretty cool. That's where you also meet. Well, you don't meet Sergeant Bird there. You meet him in the second world, but you can do his level there. So it's like it's also cool because you see stuff and you're like, oh, okay, I have to come back to this Sergeant Bird thing once I like meet Sergeant Bird, whatever the hell that's gonna be, right? Um, at certain times you'll need like certain abilities. Very rarely though. They did that in Spyro 2 where you need like certain abilities and stuff, but they very rarely did that in this game. It was more you just needed that character to get through. So that was a pretty decent level. Seashell Shore was a pretty cool level because it was like a beach area, and that was pretty neat. I liked the mini boss fight there with the submarine. I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty well done. Sort of similar to that tank thing I was talking about, but in a different style. You just kind of battle your subs against each other. It's pretty cool. So, and then Mushroom Speedway, which is your first Speedway level. And I remember the thing I remember about this. So they have three things you do at the Speedway now, and I don't remember. Is that how it worked in Spyro 2? There wasn't races in Spyro 2, as far as I remember, but there's races now in this game. So you do first thing you can do is you do the basic thing where you go through the hoops and you kill the guys and you know you do you get all four groups of things and then you're done. You know, like you gotta figure out the most efficient route to do it, just like in all the other Spyro games. So it's like Spyro 1 did that. That was all Spyro 1 did was that. And then Spyro 2 did that. And then Spyro 2 had something else. I think it was just the Hunter challenges, which are also in this game, where you have to find Hunter and then you do a challenge. Weirdly enough, his are all like UFO themed in this game. Like you just like chase down a UFO or like shoot a bunch of UFOs or something. It's really strange. Um, and then the third, or the second challenge really, but the third thing that they added to this game was that you do a race against, you know, whatever the speedway calls for. So for like the first one, Mushroom Speedway, it's butterflies you race against, and you have to figure out like the most efficient route. There's like these star, the blue star things, like they make you go faster. They're speed ups, and then the red ones make you go slower, but they have little power ups in them sometimes. So like you can shoot these like missiles. It's like Diddy Kong Racing, like the flying sections of Diddy Kong Racing. And while these were some of the more like frustrating areas, and they took me like probably the longest in this game, they were actually some of the most fun and addicting parts of the entire game. Just sitting there and grinding out these like racing sections was crazy, and I really enjoyed that actually. So, especially against the butterflies, I think that was like a good first introduction to that. So, Midday Gardens, yeah, pretty generic like homeworld again. I think all the homeworlds are pretty generic, except for the third one, which I'll get, well, and the fourth one. The third and fourth ones are pretty good, but the first two are just like, I don't know, they're just areas, you know. So you got, so this is where you find Sergeant Bird. So, that level, like I was saying, was pretty good. You know, you just kind of fly around and some platforming elements to it and stuff. So it's just it's an interesting level, but nothing to write home about. He's all right. The Sheila level was definitely better. Icy Peak was a pretty decent level. I liked how there's the guys that are like flying in the distance, and you kind of have to figure out which they have cannons set up everywhere, so you kind of have to figure out which cannon can hit the guy, which cannon's like even going to be close enough to hit the guy, and so that was pretty cool. If I'm thinking of the right level, I hope that's the right level. Um, yeah, the cannons. Okay, that's what it says here, and all of them have gems, so you have to kill them. That's another thing. Enemies have gems again. I don't know if they did that in Spyro 2. I know they did it in Spyro 1, obviously, but I think in Spyro 2 they like changed that. Enemies have gems again, so you have to kill all the enemies to get all the gems, which I'm fine with. I liked doing that. Um, you know, just ticking off the completionist stuff. And okay, and so Icy Peak had this other really annoying section. Well, was that Icy Peak? I don't know. I think this was Icy Peak, but there's this no, I think this was. Well, yeah, no, I think this was the one. This is really annoying, like, you know, power charge section where you have to go through the ramps and stuff and jump and chase the thief and all that. It's just like, I don't know. It was a little bit awkward. I don't think that's this one, though. I think this one worked all right because it wasn't as complicated and you're chasing thieves, which is fine. There's one later on in some level where you actually, like, have to ram yourself into a wall inside this like really tight area, and it's just like the worst because once you ram yourself into the wall, you still have to go in there again with the supercharge, so you just it's like impossible to control because it's like one of those metal things that you can only break with the supercharge, so it's kind of weird. This one worked all right though. So Icy Peak, pretty decent level overall, not too bad. Enchanted Towers, I was trying to think of what this level was earlier, and I still can't really figure out exactly what it was. So it must have not left that much of an impact on me. But it has another skateboarding competition, so I guess fuck that level, right? I'm just kidding. Um, Oh shit. Okay. No, I did want to talk about this level because Enchanted Towers is actually um I don't want to say it's one of the worst levels, but it definitely is one of the worst levels until you figure out that you can use Sergeant Bird outside of his area, because when you never use these characters outside of their one portal. It just like never happens. So you see all these enemies just kind of like floating around, and they're like really annoying and stuff. And Spyro has the power to like spit things into the air, so you think, oh well, I just gotta find the right angle to shoot it or whatever. And it's just like, no, that's not at all how it works. All you had to do was go to the portal, and the penguin guy is just like, all right, I guess this one time I'm gonna go into the main part of the level and just fucking help you out there. And I'm just like, what the fuck? How was I supposed to know? I mean, I know I could have just gone in there and seen what the penguin level is, but I don't work like that. I do the penguin part last because I want to do the main level and I want to not forget stuff. Um, I mean, it's cool because Sparks can, if you click down one of the sticks, Sparks will like point you to where the gems are and stuff. So that's cool. I know he did that in Spyro 2 as well. I don't know if he does that in the original. He might have done that in the original. I never knew about it if he did it in the original on the PS1. But um, so Enchanted Towers, it's just kind of a really annoying level, especially because there's all these like flying enemies and stuff, and you really can't take them out until you do the penguin, until you have the penguin guy, Sergeant Bird. And even like if you don't have him, then it's just like a super annoying level and stuff. I don't know. It's an alright level, but it's like one of the lesser good ones. Spooky Swamp, theming A plus, but like you don't really remember much of the level. It's not very. It's just another level. It's like a kind of generic platforming area. So nothing to write home about. Pretty decent level though. Spooky Swamp. I mean, the name says it all. It's a spooky swamp, right? Like so. I did like Bamboo Terrace though. I thought that was like a better version of whatever the uh, the sky level or whatever in Spyro 2, where it's kind of the same thing. But Bamboo Terrace is pretty cool. It's panda themed and stuff, which is great. And yeah, the theming was definitely pretty cool, and the area was just pretty cool to play. Definitely a decent level overall. The only part I didn't like about that was there's a part, Bentley, that's his name, the Yeti. There's a part where you have to like go through this arduous thing with him. That was probably the weakest part of that level, but pretty good level still overall. It's like Chinese themed bamboo area. It's pretty cool. Country Speedway. I remember that one being super annoying. I think it was the race. Was it the race or was it the Hunter Challenge? I think it was just the race that was super annoying on that one. But obviously I ended up beating it. Oh yeah, now like after each of these areas, just kind of like Inspire 2, there's a boss, but like none of them are like super memorable. They're all right. They're all okay. And there's also a Sparks level. Once you like beat everything in a world, you get a Sparks level, and then the Sparks levels are just basically like an overhead shooter kind of thing, and you go through these like maze areas, kind of like a gauntlet style really, but you're just like one, you get power ups and stuff. It's cool because I didn't play these two games until just now. But like back in the day, I had the Game Boy Advance games, and they had Sparks levels like that, and they had Agent 9 levels where there were side-scrolling levels. So I was kind of like mildly familiar with these characters, and these kind of level structures before, because I played them there. All right, so the third world. This is why I was saying like, okay, the other two are kind of generic. The third world's overworld level, or the home world, or whatever you're gonna call it, the hub world for the third area is great. It's fantastic. It's like this underwater thing, and there's like this upper area too. It's like it's just I don't even know how to describe it. It's called Evening Lake, first of all, and so it's like a nighttime, and like most of the levels are underwater. Like you have to like navigate yourself underwater. There's like a sunken pirate ship and stuff. It's like it's crazy. Like I don't even know. I don't even know why it's so cool. It's just like the fact that they made an overworld that was underwater and you have to like swim around to get to the levels and stuff. Like they hadn't done that in another Spyro game. I just thought it was so unique and like really well done because like you don't really see that very often as far as I can think of. But I just thought that was really cool. So definitely. Oh, you go inside a whale to get one of the eggs? Like what the fuck? Like seriously. All right, and then there's Bentley. Like that's the fucking Yeti. I don't know his. I will say his level where you like get him is just kind of the worst thing because you like I said, you use that whirlwind like hammer thing to like bounce things back at enemies, and it's just a really poorly like done level because all these enemies are coming at you like super fast, and you're this big hulking like slow guy with this hammer, and it's the worst. So that might be the low point of the entire game there. Other than what was it, Enchanted Towers? Even that level was better than that. But Frozen Affairs, is this? Which one was this? Okay, huh? Frozen Affairs. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember which one this is. Yeah, this is a pretty decent level. You kind of go around, and then there's like these laser things. You like go into these laser towers. There's like these giant snowmen like kind of in your way, and you like gut them down with the lasers and stuff. And there's just like this weird insistence in this level on like you getting to a higher point or whatever, and like gliding around at like the most random level areas or whatever. And then like there's this egg just sitting there and you're like, "Oh, clearly I must have to glide to it." But no, you just like walk along this narrow path that's like narrower than any of the paths that you like would ever walk on or whatever. So it's just like I don't know. That was a little deceptive, but it was just like I don't know. Other than that, it was a pretty good level though. Pretty well themed. It's like a winter level sort of thing, you know. So not bad. Pretty good. Um, Now Lost Fleet was a pretty cool level because it was kind of an annoying level a little bit, but at some parts. What was annoying about it? Well, okay. Yeah, it was only annoying because there was a like a skateboarding section that was like this is where they become the hoverboard races or whatever, and this was like the most annoying one. And to like top it all off, if you like I think if you get like the first egg there or something, Hunter just like goes away randomly, like if you leave the level or something because he like gets captured in the story or whatever, and then he's just like not there for like forever until you like progress the story, which is super strange. But then he comes back and you can like do the second egg again or whatever. It's really strange. But Lost Fleet's like this, like there's like these sunken pirate ships or whatever, and they're kind of like beached in this area. It's kind of hard to explain, but like there's like this poisonous water, and the cool thing about this is there's this like power up that they introduce in the overworld where like it makes you invincible for a certain amount of time. So then you like find this in one of the sunken ships, and you see this like water in front of you, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta go into the poisonous water and just start picking shit up and like get to whatever egg and like get to where I need to be through this poison water and stuff. And it's like this really cool time limit kind of thing because the nice thing about Spyro and the water levels is there's no kind of like breath mechanic. Like you don't have a certain amount of breath. You just can stay underwater as long as you want. But the poison areas kind of make up for that because it's like you only have so much time to like barrel through. So it's kind of a cool contrast to your general water level. And this is only like one section of the level. The whole rest of the level is like filled with like crabs and stuff and just like all this cool stuff. And then there's like this one area that's really cool where you're like in the submarine and you're like going around. The submarine's cool because like when you follow an enemy in the submarine, it like slowly targets onto them. You have to like wait there's like three rings, and then once they all light up, then you can like it's like locked on and it'll automatically destroy them. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so the sub mechanics are pretty cool too. There's just like all these weird things, like you know what I'm saying, like the sub levels and just like all this shit, man. It's like So it's so cool. It's variety, man. Um, so that's cool. The only shitty part about this is the skateboarding part, or the hoverboarding part, which kind of sucks. So, yeah, that's a really good level overall, though. Other than that one part. So, Fireworks Factory is a great level. And I really love this level because it's like ninja themed and whatever. And so you have like these ninjas like running around and shit. And it's like they're like this like kind of ancient castle kind of area. Um, and so they're like running around and shit. And it's just really well themed. They actually they actually go to this area like later in the ending or whatever. Um, and Hunter and Bianca. I didn't even mention Bianca. I haven't got to the Bianca. So there's this sorceress lady who's like the main antagonist. She's like generic or whatever. She just steals all the eggs. But Bianca, it's like this new bunny character, and like Hunter's in love with her or whatever. And so, but she's really cool. I like her. She starts off pretty antagonistic towards you, and then she kind of slowly is just like, you got to get out of here. That sorceress is gonna like fuck you up or whatever. But yeah, it's just like, so she's a good character. But anyway, so they go here later in the ending, and that's like one of the only times you see Alora as well. Uh, they all watch the fireworks at the end, which is pretty cool. But the level itself is just like really well themed, and it's just a really fun level to go through. And then to top it all off, um, it has the best boss in the entire game. There's these two dragons that just like they go throughout this pattern, and there's like this hole they can go through in this like tunnel and stuff, and you basically are free flying, right? And you just kind of take them off. They're like they have like little, they've got like 15 links onto these dragons or whatever, and then you just kind of take out one by one by one, and they get shorter and shorter and faster, and it's just like the coolest thing. And you gotta like watch out because they can like regenerate their things if you leave them too long. So it's a really fun like area and challenge and stuff, and um, really well done boss area. So Fireworks Factory, that's like probably one of my favorite levels in the game. And then there's an Agent 9 section there as well, which is pretty great. You don't even get Agent 9 until the next world, but his section is like, another kind of, I think it's, was it on rails like that again? I think it was, but you were like, you had freedom to like move about. Like it wasn't on rails. You like could move about in first person, so it was like a first person shooter. Like this is the kind of variety of levels we're talking about here. It's crazy, man. Like it's just insane. But Fireworks Factory, honestly, probably my favorite level in the game so far. We'll see if one of the other ones gets me. Charmed Ridge. I don't even remember what the fuck is this level. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. I don't even know how to describe this level. It's just like, it's kind of like the Magic Crafters world in the first one, where certain like wizards are raising and like extending like certain parts of the environment. So you like, so that you like so you can get to certain places and stuff. But like, obviously that gets in your way, so you have to like time it, and you have to like take out the wizards if you want it just the level to just be like normal, basically. So I mean, it's an interesting level. I think that the Magic Crafter stuff is probably done better in the first game, but there's cat wizards. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? Cat wizards and witches. And then okay, well, the one part of the level that's kind of lame is there's like this, it's like meant to be Jack and the Beanstalk kind of area, where you like have these plants and then you spit them into these holes, and you have to like do them in the right order, kind of thing, so you can get to certain platforms. But it just becomes like super confusing. But the ending is like super easy, but it's like I don't know, it's the most confusing like thing. It's a pretty interesting like puzzle area, but like I just couldn't figure out like the last part to save my life. But it was kind of a annoying area, I guess. But the rest of the level was pretty good overall. A little bit annoying, but pretty good. Honey Speedway, pretty decent Speedway level, so that's good. I guess The Sparks level, I know I haven't been reviewing the Sparks levels, but the Sparks level in the third world is not is pretty annoying. It's probably the most annoying level of the Sparks ones. I don't even remember. Well, yeah, I barely remember what the fucking fourth one was, so I don't think that caused me that much trouble. The Sparks levels get like progressively harder and harder, and since they're like this top-down shooter sort of thing, it's just like you run out of life super fast, and the checkpoints aren't always the best, especially in Starfish Reef, which is the third one of his, and it's just like the hardest thing, and it's just pretty ridiculous. And the power ups are not very well spaced in that one, so I don't know. That one was kind of annoying, but the Sparks levels are pretty decent overall, I would say. Other than that one, that was probably the worst of them. Uh, okay, and so Midnight Mountain is the fourth world. Oh, I mean the cool. Okay, so the cool thing about each of these worlds is there's always some kind of so there's like characters in each level, right? It's kind of like in Spyro 2 where there was a story to each world and there's like a main character to each of the levels or whatever. And then like in Sheila's level, Sheila's the main character, or Bentley's the main character, or Agent 9 or whatever. So they're always like building. One of them was like they build a hot air balloon just like in the first game. So that was a kind of cool callback to that. But like five characters, one from each of the levels, will like once you've helped them through the level, will like all gather around the thing that'll take you to the next world. So it's just it like kind of makes it feel like they're all helping you out and it's like a story thing or whatever. So that's kind of cool. Um, and yeah, so this is like a air balloon, and then this one is a rocket. You take a rocket, and I don't know why you take a rocket. I don't know if this is on the moon or something. I doubt this is on the moon, but that's what it kind of seems like. But anyway, you take a rocket to this, and this is the final world. It's kind of your nasty Nork Slayer, except like way better. Um, so, but it's called Midnight Mountain. The music there is really good, and the theming of the area is like really cool too. It's like you're over you're like it's almost like a city in the sky kind of thing. But it's like her castle and stuff, and there's like all these random levels. The levels in the last area are so random too. I guess the consistency and the theming of the levels aren't like super on point. They're just whatever they fucking feel like being. That's the thing that kind of bothers me about this game in Spyro 2 is like in Spyro 1, all the levels felt like they belonged to that area. So if you had, I don't know, fucking peacekeepers, it was like a castle area. So you had a bunch of castle areas and stuff. And you'd have like one odd one. You got the swamp level. You have all the swamp areas and treetops and stuff. It's like it's all themed to that world. But like they just ditched that after the first game. So that just kind of bothers me. But whatever. So yeah, here in this world, it's pretty cool. This is like and then you can find the sorceress. So it's like you can just go fight her if you have enough shit done. Which I was 100% in the game. So 117%. In the first game it's 120%. In the second game it's 100%. Okay, that's reasonable, right? In this game it's 117%, which is dumb. I don't understand it. So, but yeah, so it's pretty cool. You go, so there's Agent Nine's level, which is like he's a monkey and he's got the ray gun or whatever. So it's like you just train. It's like a tutorial. It's not that great. Um, Crystal Islands, which is pretty cool. Other than the Bentley whack-a-mole part, which was dumb. It's just a pretty cool level. You have like these magicians that like they feel like they're fake magicians, but they have like all these like really cool magical powers that can like raise crystals and shit to like help you through the level. But they all just think they're like cheap, like uh, bring it to a party kind of magician, or something. So that's kind of a funny thing there. But so yeah, and then Desert Ruin was a pretty cool area. No, wait, Desert Ruin. Which one is that? I'm thinking of Haunted Tomb, which is the next level. Sheila's portion. Okay, Desert. What? I know the level. I'm just trying to. Oh, okay. Desert Ruin was all right. I mean, it was like it was kind of a cool level. You have like these giant hands that you can like jump on and shit. It was all right, but That's the one that also has the Sheila side-scrolling part. So I'm just like, whatever on that one. But yeah. But that one was okay. Haunted Tomb was actually a pretty cool level though. Definitely, it's like you kind of go. Well, obviously it's like a tomb. You go in there and you have a bunch of sarcophaguses and stuff, and then like the mummies will jump out of there, and it's a cool thing that you have to realize. You take there's these guys that are throwing these things that you can then pick up and spit back at the guys, and that's how you beat the big guys that are throwing the things. But also you have to realize that you can shoot these at the sarcophaguses, and that's actually how you break those, and then you get you get gems for doing each of them, so you gotta realize that. So that was kind of a cool thing to have to like to have to do and have to realize and whatnot. Other than that, there was like some annoying like rock dropping parts and stuff like that just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, like how you're supposed to even avoid doing them or whatever. But yeah, it was weird. Dino Mines. Okay, now, what level did I say was the best level before? Because that might not be the best level anymore. Fireworks Factory. You know what? Fireworks Factory is pretty good, but Dino Mines is a damn close second, because that's the one where it's like the western town, but there's dinosaurs everywhere. How do you beat that? It's amazing. It's the best level. Best level hands down, right? Dinosaurs in a western. Who the fuck thought of this? It's amazing. Need I say more? There's like that cool like rail shooter section like I talked about. It's just like a really neat level overall. That's a really fun one. Harbor Speedway, decent speedway. It was a little bit annoying the race or whatever. And then the sorceress, she's like kind of not that hard to take down. You just kind of use a bunch of vehicles and you take her down. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. But and then there's the super bonus round, which is like this area where you chase a bunch of thieves. It's like your 100% completion kind of area. What's cool is you get to, since money, kind of like in the second game, and the second game is just in a cutscene, but in this game, it's cool because when you get done fighting the sorceress originally, you have to go and fight her again in the 100% completionist level. But once you get done fighting her originally, then you see money bags, and he's just kind of standing in the overworld for the fourth one, Mystic Mountain or whatever. Mystic Mountain? What's it called? Mystic Mountain is the Drake and Josh ride. Midnight Mountain. Yeah, Midnight Mountain. So he's standing in the overworld for Midnight Mountain, right? And then you actually get to chase him down this time and headbutt him for every single gem that he like took from you over the entire course of the game, like when you're freeing, your animal companions and all that. Like he would always charge you, or he'd charge you to like open a bridge or something. A bunch of bullshit. He's a fucking scam artist, obviously. But the best part is that you get to like go and you actually get to ram him for every gem back, which is pretty awesome. So that was fun. So and then my point was that then you have to chase down a bunch of the thieves, like the egg thieves from the first game, but they're like they're just gem thieves now in the level. And then there's like certain progression gates, like one of them's like 17,000 gems or something. So you really had to 100% the game and get all of the gems from outside of this level to like even progress in this level, which is an interesting concept. There's like another submarine section, and there's a skateboarding hoverboard section that sucks, but at least there. Okay, I gotta say about that one though. At least there was an area at the very beginning of that area where there's like this big drop. So I could do. What was cool is I did like 7 flips off this drop, and as long as I landed, it would give me full boost meter, so I could just go for like the entire level. So that was pretty cool. So that one wasn't so bad. My frame rate was just chugging at that point, though. Like, I don't know what the fuck, because there were so many guys on screen, I guess, at that point or something. But it was pretty funny. But yeah, I beat that eventually. But anyway, so yeah, these are all within that like final 100% completion level, and once you can like get everything, there's even like a flying section where you get that power up where you like fly and you have the super flame breath at the same time, and you like chase down a bunch of guys in the air, which is pretty cool. Once you do all of that, though, you get all the gems and stuff. You open up the final area, and you can fight the lady again. Uh, and that's kind of it. You just fight her, and that's it. But then you get 117% completion. I think you have that actually before you even go fight her again. But then you get like the real ending where Spyro like goes back and I don't know, just takes care of the babies from the dragon eggs or whatever. Sure, that can be his ending, you know. Like I guess he's just not gonna. I mean, you think he'd stay in Avalon, Avalar, wherever Alora is. You think he'd stay with her, right? In Avalor or whatever. But nope, guess not. I guess he just goes back to the dragon realm. So yeah, fuck that. I guess this whole thing this whole time. Half of the story was like the dragons used to be here. That's why we're stealing the eggs, and like because we need dragon magic, and then like at the end they're all just gone. Like Spyro's not gonna leave any dragons there or whatever. So it's just like I guess their magic's gonna run out. Sucks to be them, right? But yeah, I don't know. So it's a fun game. Like I said, some of those levels are pretty fucking great. Dino Mines, how do you beat that, right? A Western dinosaur area. Like Haunted 2. That's the thing. Like, the levels are just themed better in this game. And they all feel very well balanced, There's a lot of exploratory aspects. And then there's, like, one or two mini games featuring... One featuring your animal companion character that's there, and then the second featuring, just some random challenge like the skateboarding thing or like one of the mini games or something. But other than that, the whole level is yours to explore. It's the best balance of the two games, and that's why I think it's probably objectively the best Spyro game overall. Now, I like the first game better, but that's just because that's my preference, and I know a lot more about that game, and I can just kind of run through that game and have a good time. But if I was going to replay any of these games along with that one, it would be number 3, and I would play number 3 a lot more before I would play number 2, because number 3 is fantastic, and it's a really good game. It comes in second place on my Spyro games, obviously, because the first one is just so good. And then the second game is just alright, it's a good game, but it's just okay. So, but I think the trilogy itself is worth it overall. That's it's a really great value, so I would definitely get it. But Year of the Dragon, yeah, I'd probably get like a 9.4 or something, because it's still really good. It's just got a few like kind of annoying parts and a few flaws, but for the most part, it's a really fun game. Uh, well worth playing. It'll take you less than 20 hours to beat 100%, because I 100%ed it. I think I only spent like 17 hours or something. Um, it's pretty good. I'm glad to finally kind of have it done. Spyro trilogy kind of sucks because now I don't like really have like a typical platformer game to go back to. I still have to do like Mario Galaxy 2 and some of the other platforming games, but um, it's sad to be done with the trilogy. But yeah, Spyro 3, man, is super good game. I definitely recommend it. Probably over Spyro 2. Play Spyro 2, I guess, as well. But you play the first one, obviously. I mean, that's my best one. So I think they all hold up pretty incredibly well. I think the aesthetics of the third game, maybe they're like the other two games, but I think just overall the aesthetic presentation of the remaster in general, I think is just really well done. Overall, I really like it. I can't imagine this would have looked very good on PS1. I mean, you get nostalgic for those graphics and stuff, and but still, it's like the perfect remaster. It's like the definitive version of the game now, kind of thing. So, yeah. Anyways, good game. Get it, got it good. This has been JZNES saying keep it classic and stick around for more reviews and more Spyro. Never, maybe the Game Boy Advance games. I don't know. And underrated games. And I'll see you guys in the next one. JZ